Good morning to all. Welcome back to your English class. So this session is dealing with the next part of your second lesson, that is Nelson Mandela long walk to freedom. So in the previous two videos we had discussed about the inauguration function held on South Africa on 10th May 1994 and also the speech of Nelson Mandela and the things happened. The ceremonies took place on the day in South Africa. So that are the things that we had discussed in the last class. And in the last class we already discussed that Nelson Mandela's mind is overwhelmed with the sense of history. He told you about the things that happened in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. So also he remembers the sacrifices of the people who suffered their life for the vanishment of this apartheid system. Okay. In this class, we are going to deal with the next few paragraphs of lesson number 2. So you have to be ready with your textbook and you have to open page number 20. Okay, can we start? Okay, let's open your textbook. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. In this paragraph, Nelson Mandela is saying that the apartheid system had created a very deep and lasting wound in his country and in his people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. And he is saying that the people of South Africa had to undergo many years for recovering from this profound hurt. Profound means strong hurt. That means the people who suffered in the apartheid system, they had to spend many years for recovering from that hurtness. Okay. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect. Here Nelson Mandela is saying that the brutality and the oppression which was there for the decades, that means the oppression and brutality of this apartheid system which is existed for decades unintendedly means without any thought or effect, that has produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisselers, the Chief Luthelius, the Joseph Dadus, the Bram Fischers, the Robert Sobukos of our time. So this brutality and oppression had created so many prominent leaders who fought against this apartheid system. And who was them? They were the Oliver Tambos, Walter Sisselers, Chief Luthelius, Joseph Dadus, Bram Fischers, Robert Sobukovs, etc. So here Nelson Mandela is remembering about some prominent people in the struggle against this apartheid system. So you can see them in your textbook itself. Who are the people who were the prominent names or prominent members in the struggle against this apartheid system? They were Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthelius, Joseph Dadus, Bram Fischers, Robert Sobukos, etc. So here Nelson Mandela is remembering about the sacrifice or the fight of these people against this apartheid system. Okay, so these people fought against this apartheid system. These are some of the prominent members who fought against this apartheid system. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be known again. And he is saying that these people are such an extraordinary men of courage, wisdom and generosity. Generosity means heartedness that their like may never be known again. So he is saying that these people are such extraordinary, they have such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity, and their like may never be known again. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. And he is saying that perhaps it requires such depths of oppression only because of the deep oppression created by this apartheid system that created such heights of character. Because of the oppression, because of the depth of the oppression due to this apartheid system that created such characters, such heights of characters. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the poorest diamonds. One important thing that Nelson Mandela is sharing in his book, that is, he is saying that my country is rich in minerals and gems. His country, that is South Africa, is rich in minerals and gems which is lying beneath its soil. But for his opinion, I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people. So this country, Nelson Mandela is saying that South Africa's greatest wealth is not the gems and the minerals which is lying beneath its soil, but the people. The wealth is its people who are finer and truer than the poorest diamonds. So Nelson Mandela is saying that the greatest wealth of his country is its people who were very much finer and truer than the poorest diamonds which we can see in the soil. So here Nelson Mandela is saying that the two things, that is the minerals and gems which are lying beneath the soil of South Africa, and South African soil is rich with these minerals and gems, but on his opinion, the country's greatest wealth is its people who were very much finer and truer than the poorest diamonds that we can see in the soil. Understood? Okay. Let's move on with the next paragraph. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. And here again Nelson Mandela is saying that it is from these comrades, it is from these fighters in the struggle of this apartheid system, and from them Nelson Mandela learned the meaning of courage. So these are the courageous people who fought against this apartheid system, and from there Nelson Mandela learned what is the meaning of the word courage. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. So from past and now itself, Nelson Mandela is saying that men and women, they were taking risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. So Nelson Mandela is saying that he had seen such a men who were standing up to attacks and torture without breaking, without having any break, and showing a strength and resilience. Resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. And defies means can't be explained, the imagination. That means now itself Nelson Mandela had seen many men who were fought against this apartheid system without having any breaking, and they are showing a strength of resilience and defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Very important. Nelson Mandela's definition, or what does courage mean to Nelson Mandela? Nelson Mandela is saying that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So, in the opinion of Nelson Mandela, courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, victory over the fear. So, what is courage mean to Nelson Mandela? Courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, but the victory over the fear. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. In the opinion of Nelson Mandela, the brave man is not who does not feel afraid. The meaning of a brave man is that he does not feel afraid, but he who conquers the fear. The brave man means that one who conquers the fear, one who defeats the fear. So, in the opinion of Nelson Mandela, courage means that it was not the absence of fear, but the victory or triumph over fear. And also, the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers or defeat that fear. Okay, it's very important. Sometimes some questions will be asked, what does courage mean to Mandela? So, we have to answer that. The courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Moving on with next paragraph. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. So Nelson Mandela is saying that no person is born. When a person is born, he did not know hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. As you know, a baby does not know how to hate another person because of the color of his skin or the background he had living or the religion he has. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Another important thing, Nelson Mandela is saying that people must learn to hate. So as a newborn child, he does not know how to hate another people or another person because of the condition or the color of the skin, his background or his religion, but people are learning to hate. And if they can learn to hate, if the people can learn to hate, they can also be taught to love. And love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. That means love is a natural thing and it is naturally came to human heart than its opposite. Opposite here means hate. So people is learning to hate. So at the same time they have to taught to love also. And in the opinion of Nelson Mandela, love is a natural thing that comes more naturally to the human heart than hatredness. Okay. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. Perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. So here Nelson Mandela is remembering his experience in the prison. Even in the grimmest times in prison, even in the worstest times in prison, when his comrades and he were pushed to our limits. As you know that they were in the prison, so they have to push to their limits. Pushed to our limits means pushed to the last point in our ability to bear pain. After their suffering, I would see a glimmer of humanity. Glimmer means a little shine. A humanity in one of the guards. So Nelson Mandela is saying that even in the worstest time in the prison, after the harassment and after these sufferings, he can see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. a small amount, a little shine of humanity in one of the gods, perhaps that is for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. So that humanity shown by one of the gods that lasts for a second only, but that was enough to reassure Nelson Mandela and keep him going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Nelson Mandela is saying that a man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden. That goodness that can hidden by any man, but never it is extinguished. Extinguished means put out. So that goodness in a man never be extinguished. It can be hidden, but it never be extinguished. Understood? So here he is telling about his experience in the prison. So after the long or after the operation of the and after the sufferings, and they were pushed to their limits, they can see a glimmer of humanity in one of the gods. Perhaps it is just for a second, but that was enough to reassure Nelson Mandela and keep him going. And he is saying that man's goodness, which was a flame that can be hidden but never be extinguished. Okay, so now we can move to the next paragraph. In life, every man has 10 obligations. Obligation to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. So in the next paragraph, Nelson Mandela is saying the twin obligations of a man. What is obligations? It's a duty. So Nelson Mandela is saying that every man has twin obligations. And first one is obligation to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. The things he has to do to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And another one is the obligation to his people, his community, his country. So another is that the obligation he has to do to his people, his community and his country. So every man has twin obligations. One is obligation to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And another is an obligation to his people, his country, his community. So these are the two obligations that every man has in the opinion of Nelson Mandela. In a civil and humane society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. So already you know that Nelson Mandela had said that in a life of every man there are two obligations, that is, one is towards his family and one is towards his country. And Nelson Mandela is saying that in a civil and humane means kind society, each man has to able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations. Inclinations means natural tendency of behavior, natural behavior and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man. So Nelson Mandela is saying that in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of his birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. So Nelson Mandela is saying that in South Africa, a man of his color or man of black color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. So A person who take birth in a black family or the oppressed family in South Africa, whether he is attempting to live as a human being or whether he is want to fulfill the obligation towards his family and country, they will be punished and isolated. Isolated means they become very lonely, made lonely. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. So already Nelson Mandela says that a man is want to be like a human being in South Africa. They will not be allowed. They will be punished and isolated. And a man who want to fulfill the duty towards his people was inevitably means unavoidably ripped from his family, taken away from his family and from his home, and was forced to live a life apart from his family, a twilight existence. Twilight existence means a short life existence of secrecy and rebellion. Rebellion means opposition. They has to live in a secrecy and rebellion. So South Africa does not give any freedom to a man who is born in the same color of Nelson Mandela. That is, the people who is suffering this apartheid system, they will not get any opportunity to obey the obligations towards his family and his country. So they will not allow, the white supremacy will not allow such obligations which want to fulfill by this blackish people. Okay. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. So Nelson Mandela is saying that he did not in the beginning choose to place his people above his family. So in the beginning he did not choose the people, he did not serve the people above his family, but in attempting to serve his people, when he attempted to serve his country, he found that he was prevented from fulfilling his obligations towards his family as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. So Nelson Mandela is saying that when he want to serve his people, when he want to fight for his people for this apartheid system, he found that he was prevented from the obligations. He did not got any opportunity to fulfill his obligation towards his family as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. So Nelson Mandela is saying that in South Africa, it is difficult for a man who is in the same birth and color of Nelson Mandela. He did not get any opportunity to fulfill his obligation towards his family and towards his country. Okay. So once again, I want to tell you the summary of this paragraph. In life, every man has 10 obligations or 10 duties. What are the duties? To his family, to his country. Okay. So Nelson Mandela found it difficult to fulfill these two duties because it was because a colored man in South Africa was punished if he lived like a human being. Okay. A colored man in South Africa was punished if he lived like a human being, and such a colored man was forced to live apart from his own people. When he want to serve to his people, such a man was forced to live apart from his own people. Thus, he was not allowed to do his duty to his family as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. Clear? So, in South Africa, a colored man does not get any opportunity to fulfill his two obligations. Okay. So, he has to He was not allowed to do his duties towards his country or towards his family. That is a problem existed in South Africa. Okay. So my dear children, in this video we have discussed about Nelson Mandela's remembering about the freedom fighters, and he also told you about the definition of courage. It is very important. And man's natural goodness, his experience with a person, one of the guards in the prison, and another important thing, that is man's duties, the twin obligations of a man. So my dears, for the time being, let me wind up here. There will be one more section for this class, one more part is there for the lesson number 2, so that we will do in the next class. Again, I am telling you that you have to read the lesson very carefully and try to find out the answers. Try to read the lesson at least for 5 times and try to find out the answers of the question that I will ask you later. So, goodbye, take care, be safe. Thank you.